Kiddushin 70b. One may not send greetings to a woman even with a messenger, as this may cause the messenger and the woman to relate to each other inappropriately. Rav Nachman countered by suggesting that he send his greetings with her husband, which would remove all concerns. Rav Yehuda said to him, "This is what Shmuel says. One may not send greetings to a woman at all." Yalta, his wife, who overheard that Rav Nachman was getting the better of the exchange, sent a message to him, "Release him and conclude your business with him, so that he not equate you with another ignoramus." Desiring to release Rav Yehuda, Rav Nachman said to him, "What is the reason that the master is here?" Rav Yehuda said to him, "The master sent me a summons." Rav Nachman said to him, "Now that I have not even learned the master's form of speech, as you have demonstrated your superiority to me by reproving me even over such matters, could I have sent a summons to the master?" Rav Yehuda removed the summons from his bosom and showed it to him. While doing so, Rav Yehuda said to him, "Here is the man, and here is the document." Rav Nachman said to him, "Since the master has come here, let him present his statement, in order that people should not say, 'The sages flatter one another and do not judge each other according to the letter of the law.'" Rav Nachman commenced the deliberation and said to him, "What is the reason that the master excommunicated the man?" Rav Yehuda replied, "He caused discomfort to an agent of one of the sages, and therefore he deserved the punishment of one who causes discomfort to a Torah scholar." Rav Nachman challenged this answer. "If so, let the master flog him, as Rav would flog one who causes discomfort to an agent of the sages." Rav Yehuda responded, "I punished him more severely than that." Rav Yehuda held that excommunication is a more severe punishment than flogging. Rav Nachman further inquired, "What is the reason that the master proclaimed about him that he is a slave?" Rav Yehuda said to him, "Because he is in the habit of calling people slaves, and it is taught, anyone who disqualifies others by stating that their lineage is flawed, that is a sign that he himself is of flawed lineage. Another indication of his lineage being flawed is that he never speaks in praise of others." And Shmuel said, "He disqualifies with his own flaw." Rav Nachman retorted, "You can say that Shmuel said this halacha only to the degree that one should suspect him of being flawed lineage. But did he actually say this to the extent that one could proclaim about him that he is a flawed lineage?" The Gemara continues the story. Meanwhile, that litigant arrived from Narda. That litigant said to Rav Yehuda, "You call me a slave? I, who come from the house of the Hasmonean kings?" Rav Yehuda said to him, "This is what Shmuel says. Anyone who says, 'I come from the house of the Hasmonean kings,' is a slave." As will be explained, only slaves remained of their descendants. Rav Nachman, who heard this exchange, said to Rav Yehuda, "Does the master not hold in accordance with this halacha that Rav Abba says, that Rav Huna says, that Rav says, with regard to any Torah scholar who proceeds to teach a ruling of halacha with regard to a particular issue? If he said it before an action that concerns himself occurred, they should listen to him, and his ruling is accepted. But if not, if he quoted the halacha only after he was involved in an incident related to the halacha he is quoting, they do not listen to him due to his personal involvement. Your testimony with regard to what Shmuel ruled should be ignored, as you stated it only after the incident." Rav Yehuda said to Rav Nachman, "There is Rav Matena, who stands by my report, since he has also heard this ruling of Shmuel." The Gemara continues, Rav Matana had not seen the city of Narda for 13 years. That very day he arrived. Rav Yehuda said to him, "Does the master remember what Shmuel said when he was standing with 1 foot on the bank and 1 foot on the ferry?" Rav Matana said to him, This is what Shmuel said at that time. Anyone who says, I come from the house of the Hasmonean kings, is a slave, as none remained of them except for that young girl who ascended to the roof and raised her voice and said, From now on, anyone who says, I come from the house of the Hasmonean kings, is a slave. Other than this girl, the only members of the family who remained were descendants of Herod, and he was an Edomite slave. The girl then fell from the roof and died, leaving only slaves from the Hasmoneans. With the confirmation of the report of the statement of Shmuel, they also publicized in Nerda about him. In other words, that man who claimed to come from the Hasmonean kings, that he was a slave. The Gemara relates, on that day, several marriage contracts were torn up in Nerda, as many had their marriages annulled after having discovered that they had married slaves. When Rav Yehuda was leaving Nerda, they pursued him, seeking to stone him, as because of him it was publicized that their lineage was flawed. Rav Yehuda said to them, If you are silent, remain silent, and if you will not remain silent, I will reveal about you this statement that Shmuel said, There are two lines of offspring in Narda. One is called the dove's house, and one is called the raven's house. And your mnemonic with regard to lineage is, the impure bird, the raven, is impure, meaning flawed, and the pure one, the dove, is pure, meaning unflawed. Upon hearing this, they threw all those stones that they were intending to stone him with from their hands, as they did not want him to reveal who had a flawed lineage. And as a result of all the stones thrown into the river, a dam arose in the Malka River. The Gemara continues the discussion of those with a flawed lineage. Rav Yehuda proclaimed in Pumbedita, Ada and Yonatan, known residents of that town, are slaves. Yehuda bar Papa is a mamzer. Bati bar Tuvia, in his arrogance, did not accept a bill of manumission and is still a slave. Rava proclaimed in his city of Mehoza, Balai, Danai, Talai, and Malai, Zagai, all these families are of flawed lineage. Rav Yehuda likewise says, Govai, and the inhabitants of a place called Gova are in fact Gibeonites, and their name has been corrupted. Similarly, those people known as Dorenunita are from the village of Gibeonites, and they may not marry Jews with unflawed lineage. Rav Yosef says, with regard to this place called Be Kuve of Pumbedita, its residents are all descendants of slaves. Rav Yehuda says that Shmuel says 400 slaves, and some say 4,000 slaves, were owned by Pashur ben Imer, a priest in the time of Jeremiah, and due to their greatness, they were assimilated into the priesthood and became known as priests. And any priest who has the trait of insolence is from them. Abiah said, They all sit in the rows of honor that are in the city of Nerda. The Gemara comments, and this statement disagrees with the statement of Rabbi Elazar. As Rabbi Elazar says, if you see an insolent priest, do not speculate about him, that he may be of flawed lineage, since it is stated, For your people are as those who strive with a priest. Hosea 4:4, which indicates that priests had a reputation for being cantankerous or contentious. The Gemara discusses an idea raised earlier. Rav Avin bar Rav Ada says that Rav says concerning anyone who marries a woman who is not suited for him to marry, when the Holy One, blessed be He, rests His divine presence upon the Jewish people, He testifies with regard to all the tribes that they are His people, but He does not testify with regard to he who married inappropriately, as it is stated, the tribes of the Lord as a testimony of Israel. Psalms 122:4. When is a testimony to Israel? When the tribes are the tribes of the Lord, but not when their lineage is flawed. Reb Hama, the son of Rabbi Hanina, says, when the Holy One, blessed be He, rests His divine presence, He rested only upon families of unflawed lineage among Israel. As it is stated, at that time, says the Lord, will I be the God of all the families of Israel. Jeremiah 30:25. Of all Israel is not stated, but of all the families, which includes only those of unflawed lineage, the renowned families of Israel. The verse from Jeremiah ends with the words, and they shall be my people. Rabbah bar Rav Huna says this is a higher standard that differentiates between those born as Jews and converts, as with regard to those born as Jews, as it is written about them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Ezekiel 37:27. Whereas with regard to converts it is written, for who is he that has pledged his heart to approach unto me, says the Lord, and you shall be my people, and I will be your God. Jeremiah 30:21 and 22. This teaches that converts are not drawn close to God as indicated by the words, and I will be your God, until they first draw themselves near to God, as indicated by the subsequent phrase, and you shall be my people. Rabbi Chelbo says, converts are as difficult for the Jewish people as a scab. The proof is that it is stated, and the convert shall join himself with them, and they shall cleave, v'nispechu, to the house of Jacob, Isaiah 14:1. And it is written, v'nispechu, it is written as it is written there, and it is written there, among the types of leprosy, and for a sore, and for a scab. L'se'es v'losapachas. Leviticus 14:56. The use of a term with a similar root indicates that converts are like a scab for the Jewish people. Rabbi Chama bar Hanina says, when the Holy One, blessed be He,